Hi, I'm Sigrid Pierce and welcome to the channel. Here's the harsh reality. If you don't believe in yourself as a photographer, no one else is going to either. Just imagine you go and see your doctor, and when he comes to actually giving you your diagnosis, he starts fumbling around and seeming to not really know what he's doing. You wouldn't be feeling very confident then that he's going to give you that right diagnosis, right? You would absolutely want to go and get a second doctor's opinion because you want the right diagnosis. You want the right person working with you. That doctor did very little to instill in you the confidence that he knew what he was doing. Now, without realizing it, you could actually be doing the same type of thing in your photography business, and I know it's probably unintentional. Today, we're going to dive into how you can embrace your artistic vision and your artistic identity, and then also how you're going to convey that value to your clients. Because if you believe and know your worth as a business, then you can command those sort of prices. Do you ever feel like you're constantly battling with self-doubt? Questioning whether your work is good enough to command the kind of prices that you dream of getting for your jobs? You're absolutely not alone. This is the artist's dilemma. That constant struggle between our passion that we love what we're doing and actually making a profit from that. Today in this video, we're going to tackle some big questions. The first one is, how do you determine your true value as a photographer? What factors influence how others perceive the value of the work that you create? And most importantly, how do you effectively communicate your value as a photographer to your clients? Because let's face it, if we don't get this balance right, it really can make or break our photography career as a whole. You could be the most talented and gifted photographer and artist that's out there to walk this planet. But if you're not commanding the kind of prices that you truly deserve, you'll never be able to sustain this passion that you have as a career in the long run. This is one of the hard lessons that I had to learn in my career, and I'm going to share some of my experiences with you as we go through this video today. So let's do this. It's time that you start embracing that artistic identity that you have. Overcome those doubts that are sitting there in the back of your mind. And when you start claiming your worth as a photographer, trust me, it's one of the best things you can do. You're about to find out just how valuable you really are. Let's dig into a little bit of the nitty-gritty as to how you actually determine your worth. It's not just about slapping a price tag on your services and calling it a day. No, it's your worth as a photographer that's deeply rooted in who you are as an artist. It's all-encompassing. First and foremost, it's going to be part of your technical skill. That way that you manipulate light, the way you compose a shot, the way you use your equipment to create your stunning images. These are the foundational elements that set you apart from the average Joe with a smartphone camera. But it's not just about the technicalities, is it? Your creative vision is what makes you really unique. It's the way you see the world, the stories that you tell through your lens and the way you do it uniquely to you. It's the unique emotions that you evoke when people look at your photos. It's the being able to spot a Peter McKinnon or a Annie Leibovitz a mile away. It's because they've made their artistic vision and creative style so unique to them. It really sets them apart. But how do you actually recognize and harness these strengths that you have? We start by taking a deep dive into your portfolio. Really analyze your work and identify the common threads that tie it all together. Is it your use of bold colors, or the way you really capture really candid moments, or maybe how you always have atmosphere in all your shots? Once you've pinpointed your unique creative visions and styles, it's time to start putting them to work. You want to showcase these strengths of yours in your marketing material, your website, your client communication. Let that artistic identity of yours shine through in everything that the world sees of yours. Don't be afraid at this point to seek out critique from your peers, your other creatives, your mentors, even your past clients. Sometimes that outside perspective can really help you see where you can improve, but also where you're really doing well. Use those insights to really refine your craft and build your confidence as your worth as a photographer. But here's the thing, determining your value as a photographer isn't just a one-off. As you keep pushing yourself to learn new things, learn new techniques, different styles, ways of doing things, these challenges are really going to stretch your creative muscles, and This is all going to make you a much sexier version of you. So embrace those unique strengths that you have. Own that artistic identity that makes you you. And never stop striving to be the best damn photographer that you can be. That's how you determine what your true worth really is. But of course, determining your worth is just one part of that puzzle. There are a myriad of external factors that influence how people view our work and how clients perceive our value. From consumer behavior to market trends, there are a vast amount of external factors that will influence how people perceive the value of your photography. And let's be real, in today's fast-paced, tech-driven world, it is really difficult to stand out from the crowd. Just think about it. With smartphones in every pocket, you're probably watching this on a smartphone right now, and social media being flooded with just millions of images. It's no wonder that the value of a professional photographer can sometimes get lost in that noise of content. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean that your work as a photographer and value thereof is inherently less. In fact, it's quite the opposite. What sets you apart as a creative photographer from all the rest of the content is your unique style, the way you use composition, the way you use light and storytelling to create images that aren't just capturing beautiful moments or historical moments, but it's also something that actually evokes an emotion. It's not just a quick hit consumption. It's also that ability to take an idea from someone else or your clients and turn that into reality. This is one of the reasons why I've personally always enjoyed advertising photography so much, because I get to take something that's a sketch drawing on a napkin and turn it into something real. But then how do you make sure that others also see this value? Well, it comes down to how you showcase your work and doing it in the right way. And no, it's not just slapping a few photos up on Instagram and calling it a day. Cool, the clients are going to think I'm great. It's about curating a portfolio that really highlights your signature style and that creative vision that you have, and doing it in such a way that it tells a story from beginning to end. Then it's about also using social media platforms to share the stories behind your work, the story about you. That's where you can really connect with your audience on a personal level. It's one of the biggest reasons why I've decided to start doing this YouTube channel, because after almost 18 years of doing photography, I realized that I was always hiding behind my work. No one ever knew me. No one ever knew Seagram, the photographer, the real person talking to you now. I didn't have nearly enough personal engagement with you. So take that as a lesson from someone that learned the hard way. Don't neglect this aspect of how you show your creative style and who you are as a creative. I can't not mention also the power of networking. Build relationships with other creatives in your industry, makeup artists, stylists, other photographers. Link up with industry professionals, those that work in agencies, those that work in production. This can all go a long way in getting your work noticed, and these people understand the value of what you do. They can understand your value as a photographer and what you bring. When I started doing photography, I shot editorial for over a decade. I always think one of the reasons why I was able to do this for so long wasn't because I was the best photographer, even though I was always trying my best, but rather I made sure that I was great to work with. People like working with nice people. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you had to choose someone to work with, there's going to be someone that comes to mind, and they're going to be a nice person. You like them. But there's a kicker. Even with all these strategies in place, there are still going to be times where you're going to face rejection and you're going to feel like your work isn't being appreciated. And that's okay, because what's really important is that you just keep making those incremental steps, inch by inch, every day, trying to just get a little bit better at what we do. I always like to think we have these amazing stories of titans of industry that stuck to their vision and did things the way they wanted to do it. And that's why we have things like Apple and Tesla and OpenAI. They didn't lose focus on what their vision and their dream was. One of the hardest burdens that we carry as artists is that we face an insane amount of rejection. I think people don't realize how much so. And it is so hard not to take that personally. It's our creative work that feels like that's getting rejected, right? I mean, a vacuum salesman doesn't feel offended when someone doesn't want to buy his vacuum. It's not his vacuum. He just works for the company. But for us, it's our creative abilities and our work that feels like it's getting rejected. But don't let these external factors get to you too much. There's a great quote, and I think it was Audrey Hepburn, that said, "Other people's opinion of me are not my business," or something like that. I love that. And besides, the world needs your creative voice, your creative vision. I promise you, there is space in the world for everyone's creative voice. But wait, we also said that we need to be able to communicate this value of ours with our client. So don't worry, I've got you covered here too. Okay, so we know we have our worth, and we know what external factors can possibly influence how that worth is perceived. But how do we actually take that and convey that to our potential clients so that they will pay us and we can command the kind of prices that we want? Guys, this is where the rubber meets the road. So how do we do that? Well, first things first, the thing that people are going to see before they've met with you or even called you is your portfolio. So this is your chance to highlight your best work, something that really shows your creative vision and your greatest strengths. Let the client see that in a beautiful portfolio long before they pick up the phone or decide they want to get hold of you. Choose your images that tell stories, the ones that you think will evoke emotions from those that look at your images. Ultimately, we want people to stop and take a moment to, in all this content that we have around us, to just stop for a moment to go, damn, this guy is a great photographer. Or this guy would really convey my brand in a really great way because look how well he's done it for all these other brands. That's what we're wanting. It's about also crafting compelling stories that go along with it. You use your website, you use your social media platforms, and when you're talking to people, you communicate and you inspire people by how you got to where you got with your photos, the obstacles you overcame, the challenges, how you took a brand from here to here. All of those form part of the narrative that you tell along with your visuals. This is how you start building that personal brand of yours, and this is how that value that you have as a photographer starts becoming more solidified in your client's mind. This is how you build your personal brand and how people can connect with you, and you build trust. And speaking of trust, social proof is a gold mine of value. Don't be afraid to ask clients for testimonials, or ask them if you can showcase how you took their brand from here to up there. Show off these glowing reviews. It might feel a little bit braggy at first, but once you realize that all you're doing is communicating how you effectively helped clients in the past, that builds trust in how clients feel you're going to help them before you've even worked with them. When your potential clients see how others have had a positive influence and a positive benefit from working with you, that just reinforces your value in their minds of how you're going to help them. And here's the real secret sauce when it comes to this. It's your networking. I know, it's sometimes intimidating and hard, especially if we're introverts, to put ourselves out there. But trust me, it is so worth it. And you can do it in really small ways as well. Attend industry events, go to launches, join online communities, reach out to other creatives, even those whose work you really admire. Build genuine relationships with these people that not only inspire you as a creative, but they can also potentially refer clients to you, or you know what, they could even become clients themselves. So now you've landed this potential client meeting. You're sitting there. What do you do now? Well, don't just talk about your prices and your packages. Come prepared with some sort of customized presentation. Do some research on your client. Look at what they've done in the past. Think about what you could potentially do for them in the future. Ask good questions when you're sitting there with them. And most importantly, listen. Let them do as much of the talking as possible. You want to let them tell you what they need. Now you can really show them how investing in your services won't only result in stunning photos, but also how it's going to help them achieve those goals that they have. Remember that your client has goals in mind when they're wanting to work with you. It's not just about you doing this job for them. They have objectives and goals that they want to attain and hit as well. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's about bringing your value as a photographer and giving it to the client that they can see that value as well. When you can communicate to your clients how you're going to make their lives better or their business more successful or their memories more precious, that's when you're communicating and you're talking true value in their eyes. Be bold and be authentic. Be the real you. That's how you never stop showing the world how valuable you really are. You got this. And there you have it, my friend, the artist dilemma in a nutshell. Valuing your worth, navigating those external factors, and effectively communicating your unique vision to the world. It's not going to be an easy road, but it's a journey well worth taking. Because here's the thing, being a photographer, a true artist, means you pouring your heart and your soul into everything of your craft. It means you're going to face objections, you're going to face rejections, you're going to doubt yourself. And sometimes you're going to feel like you want to scream into the void out of frustration. But it also means that you're going to have moments that are just going to be absolutely pure magic. When you capture an image and you look at it and you know it's the best damn photograph you've ever taken in your life so far, or when a client tells you how much they value the work that you do for them, those moments make everything worthwhile. So when those challenges come knocking, and trust me, they will, remember why you picked up your camera in the first place. Remember that fire that sits inside you, that fire that drives you to create, to tell stories, to make something beautiful out of the chaos that we have in the world around us. And most importantly, you need to remember that your value as a photographer or an artist is not defined by purely just the price tag that you put on your work or your follower count. It's defined by the passion and the professionalism that you bring into your work, the impact that you make on those around you, and the impact that you make on your little part of the world or a greater part of the world, depending on what you do. It's also the impact that you make on others that meet you and are inspired by the work that you do. Don't forget, you inspire so many people as well without you even realizing it. So keep pushing, keep creating, and keep believing in yourself. But until then, keep doing what you love and love what you do. That's the key to staying motivated in spite of everything. Oh, and before you go, check out this next video about embracing failure as a photographer. As we talked about earlier, sometimes these moments of struggle and rejection can actually be the keys to unlocking your true potential. So don't be afraid to fail. It's kind of part of the journey.